Succeeding as a Solopreneur. She's my guest on today. Liz, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm terrific. Good morning.
It's great to have you here with us, and the book is really, really nice. What's the purpose behind succeeding as a solopreneur?
Well, I've spent the part of my career consulting over the last 20 years being self-employed, and thousands of people have come to me with questions and advice about how to be successfully self-employed, and I finally turned all of that into a book. So it teaches people how, whether or not being self-employed is the right path for you, how to take the leap, how to win clients, and then how to keep more money of what you earn.
Wow. Liz, what is the difference between a solopreneur and an entrepreneur?
Yes, so it's not hard to imagine what solopreneurship is, but it's basically people who are not interested in creating a boutique consulting firm or having employees. They really just want to do the work they love to do, run their own little business, maybe work part-time, maybe just work several months a year and then take time off, but doing the work on their own terms and not having to deal with the headaches of running a big business.
Absolutely. Now, listeners, there are 6 steps to taking the leap, winning clients, and building wealth, per Liz Steblay, the author of the book Succeeding as a Solopreneur. Liz, what are some of your 6 keys to becoming a successful solopreneur?
Well, they're all interrelated, so it's hard to pick just a few. But I'd say that there's the top 3 that are hardest to master. The first would be to vanquish FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It can be very difficult to get rid of those noises and that voice in your head. Second, I'd say the hardest is to be memorable and be known for something by narrowing your niche. And third, probably to have the backbone and confidence to charge what you're worth. That's the single biggest mistake I see people make when they step out on their own is they don't charge enough.
And so many people, especially in today's world, are taking that leap to start their own business. But what are some things to think about before taking the leap to running your own business, Liz?
Yeah, I'd say 2 things. One is to make sure that you have a financial cushion because it can take some time to build momentum, to get your first client. Sometimes it's easy to get the first client, but then there's a long lag before you get the second client. And actually, one of my best tips for having a financial cushion is while you still have, what I call a real job, a W-2, is if you're a homeowner, apply for a home equity line of credit. You don't have to use it, but apply for it while you're still on the payroll because it's going to be hard to get that financial cushion if you don't have a W-2 job. So that's number one. I think you need to have at least 4 months of living expenses saved up before you actually take the leap to be self-employed. And then the other thing to think about would be do you have a healthy amount of confidence?
Yes.
So that you can learn what you don't know. Like we all know our craft and we know what we do, whether that's consulting or executive coaching or financial planning, but you don't necessarily know how to run a business, but that's where the book comes in.
Okay, wonderful. Liz, can you tell us what you have learned about the nuts and bolts of running a successful, thriving business that many of the failed entrepreneurs didn't do?
Well, obviously, there's a lot to learn when you want to run your own business. Everything from submitting proposals, doing marketing or social media, quoting a good rate, right? But I think the most important thing is to quickly realize what you're not very good at and find other people to help you do that. Like in my experience, I'm really bad at accounting, and I would transfer money like to pay myself in my accounting system, but then I'd actually forget to transfer it at the bank.
Okay.
So you have to quickly remember what you're not good at, or quickly realize what you're not good at, and then outsource those tiny little pieces, right? So I hired a part-time bookkeeper for, 5 hours a month or whatever. But I see that's one of the most important things is to realize, okay, I'm not good at this, but I bet somebody is, and I can find somebody to do this on a part-time basis.
Okay. I'd like for you to speak on FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, because for the 57% of Americans who have a great idea for a business or product, what would you recommend?
Yes, I call this the FUD monster because I always imagine the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, like those little hairy monsters sitting on my shoulders, telling me that you're not good enough, you don't know how to run a business, and who are you to think you can do this? And, we all have that in our DNA. It's usually to save us from a charging lion, but in this case, it's trying to save you from making some horrible mistakes. And so I think the important thing to know about FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, is that you can never eliminate it completely. It's always still there. So I've been self-employed now over 20 years, and I still get the FUD monster in my head, but you learn how to tame it and say, okay, I know you're just trying to protect me and keep me from doing something stupid, but I've got this. I know where I can get the help I need, and I've done my homework, and I can do this.
Okay. Liz, give us tips on how we can constantly grow the network and avoid the trap of complacency.
Oh, right.
Very important. Yes.
A couple minutes ago I said, well, sometimes it's easy to get the first client. The second client is sometimes more difficult. And that's because people get busy serving their first client, and they forget that they have to keep their network warm. They have to keep networking to line up the second and then the third client. So one of my, the two best tips that I have is, one is block an hour on your calendar, at least 1 hour every week, just to do outreach. That means reaching out to somebody you haven't talked to in a long time, or having a virtual cup of tea with somebody, or if you're in a location where you're doing things like in real life, not over a Zoom call. My mantra was one person in person once a week, where I would have a coffee, lunch, or a drink after work with one person every week, and that was my way of keeping my network strong so that I didn't have to go a long time between the first, second, and third client.
Wow. Listeners, whatever the business and wherever in the world it is, the key is to gain momentum and keep going. This from author of the book, Succeeding as a Solopreneur, Liz Steblay. Liz, in closing our conversation, how can my listeners learn more about your works and continue to stay in the know?
Yes. So, obviously, solopreneurship is a difficult world to work itself.
Yes.
So I made it very easy. Just remember 6keys.info, www.6keys.info, not .com, because that was too expensive to buy, but 6keys.info, and that'll take you to a landing page where you can buy the book from Amazon or bookstop.org or sign copies from me or whatever, and then there's links to find more about me or whatever. But 6keys.info is sure.
All right. Liz Steblay, again, is my guest today during the magazine's lifestyle segment. You got to know your knowledge. Liz, thank you so much. There's an open invite. Come back anytime you'd like.
Thank you. I enjoyed this.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Hey, again, everybody, Liz Steblay, again, author of the book. You have to pick it up, everybody, especially if you have plans as a solopreneur, not entrepreneur, but solopreneur. She's the author of the book, Succeeding as a Solopreneur, 6 Keys to Taking the Leap, Winning Clients, and Building Wealth.